Myya's in his house. All right, so sister girl, Kaya. she ran out. Okay, so I'm having some big fun, y'all. I got Trey Styles in his house. Okay, and me and this gentleman hit it off so good when I got the opportunity to interview him. And I know we're gonna have some fun because I got some ladies that has some questions, and then I might have some men. You never know. That might also have some questions, correct? Okay, so what I'm actually trying to do at this moment is just to make sure everything is copacetic. So I just want to say, without further ado, okay, my Mayan tribe, please welcome Trey Styles. What's up,
Thank you.
sir?
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
Mayan
yes,
Tribe. Thanks for having me.
yes. This is how we're gonna do it. Okay, so I was so a good friend had asked me, like, okay, so what's the topic gonna be today? And I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to do that, right? It was but look, I had it in my head and then it went and escaped me when I went to try to write it down. So I will say is this: black men, are they strong or what? We need to find out what makes a strong black man tick. If that's okay with the Mayan tribe. you know? So I definitely want you guys to understand he is an author, also a podcaster. If you can please just tell my Mayan tribe, what is the name of your podcast, beloved?
Hello, Mayan Tribe. Once again, my podcast is called Black Man Talk. One word, Black Man Talk. You can find it on YouTube, Spotify, and other streaming platforms.
Yes, yes, yes. Love it, love it, love it, love it. So, at the same time, he's an author. Can you please tell us the name of your book?
My book is called Black Boy Arise. And you can find it on Amazon via paperback or ebook.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So, um, I think this is so interesting because, like, when you and we started talking and we got into, why you actually did everything. Can you just please tell everybody, just give them a smidge on why you actually started the podcast, please?
My podcast, in layman's terms, it was just a vehicle for a black man to be human, a place where we can talk about everything under the sun or above the ground or whatever. We can express ourselves. We feel free to talk about personal problems, heartbreak. You lost your job, you need encouragement. You're dealing with racism. You're dealing with discrimination in the workplace. Uh, you battling masculinity problems in the sense that you think that you have to be tough all the time or hard all the time because many of us grow up in a tough environment, so we wear like this hard exterior. But a lot of us, we inside we want a place where we can feel, be free. We want some kind of outlet, and a lot of places we don't have that. And Black Man Talk is where I allow black men to tell their truth, and that's why I tell my truth, and I'm willing to put myself out there, expose myself, my flaws and all, because to me, what's most important more than anything before trying to start a family or before trying to love a woman is me loving myself first and foremost. Because before I can do that, love a woman or raise a family, love my family or kids if I had them, I have to love myself first and foremost. I have to heal myself, and that's what Black Man Talk is about. Just a platform for black men just to be free. When we could just talk like like it's the barber shop, or it's like your best friends, or you chilling with your homie that you can really trust. You know, that's what Black Man Talk is about.
That's true. That's very true. It seems like you only seem to have, as a black man, just that one spot to really say some stuff.
Mhm.
You can't say everything, but
Nah,
you can say some things that people can kind of relate to,
absolutely.
if that's one of those things. Now, I mean, do you find that there's like other places that you guys have been able to talk and have those connections?
Well, for me personally, because the kind of person I am, like I said, I'm just walking my truth, and I've been myself for a long time. I don't let peer pressure get to me no more. I'm not gonna change who I am to be with any woman. I am who I am, but I'm gonna change for the better. I'm not gonna change my personality, but like I got character flaws, I'll do that. So, but with my friends, I can talk with my friends about anything. Now I know I got some friends that's straight from the street, and some of them honestly have cried on the phone talking to me. Literally. They can't talk with maybe the other friends like that, but they know with me they could be themselves. Some of them actually cried and told me what they was dealing with. And I didn't look at them as weak. I look at them as human, because I would rather my friends shed tears and let it out than hold that in and be dying young from brain aneurysms, or dying from things related to stress, or you holding it in and you going outside and you take your anger out on somebody who ain't had nothing to do with it. Because you get the long end or you get the short end. Either way, it's really gonna be the short end, because if you hurt somebody seriously, you're gonna do time and your family's gonna suffer, or your family will suffer if somebody take you away from here. And there's another case if you hold that stress in so much, and you might take it out on your own family in the home, and you might be surprised what you do. How many times you heard people say, "I blanked out, I wasn't even thinking," and then when you come to your senses, you're like, "Wow, I can't believe I did what I did."
Exactly. Exactly. Wow. And so, like, do you find that like talking about it does kind of help you, kind of sort things out and different things like that? Like, why is it that men feel like they can't talk to their woman? Like, I think that's one of those things that we're trying to figure out. Why am I so taboo that you can't
Hmm.
talk to me about what you're going through so we can have a understanding? Like, it just, I don't know. Like for me, it just never really made any sense.
Well, I would say I say men in general, but especially Black American men. With us, many of us coming up in the inner city, it all starts with the environment, and we come from a harder environment, and a lot of times, the women are product of their environments as well. So, whatever environment you come from, those are who those are the type of men that will appeal to those women. So if you like grew up in the suburbs, upper middle class family, the women might find the men appealing, like the doctors, the lawyers, or the business owners. Yeah. But in our community, a lot of times we cut out, because we've been deprived and we oppressed, and we don't have a lot of we don't control the economy of our community. So sometimes in our community, the subculture of violence is a big thing. So the men who might have the power and control in those communities are like, the dealers or the guys in the street, and they may reflect that environment. And a lot of times, with that being the case, the women will be more attracted to that man, because women by nature seek security. So you may feel like that's the man that can protect you in that environment. So it's all environmental, first and foremost, depending on what kind of environment you come from. So with us being from that type of environment, you grow up with boys don't cry, you know, men don't cry and all that. We got to be hard, because it is a harder environment that we from. And the
Yeah.
women, if you start expressing yourself to them like, "Oh, I'm going through this, I'm feeling down, baby, I can't do this," all that, she may look at you as weak. As we talked previously, I talk about in certain communities, it's cultural as well. If a guy was out and he got in an argument with a man, or the man said something, he walked away, or he just ignored the guy, some women will be okay, that's fine. But in our environment, sometimes she might be like, "You gonna let him talk to you like that?" Or something like that. And sometimes it ain't because she's toxic or a bad person. It's because we all from that environment, and we got to unlearn a lot of these bad generational behaviors. So I
Exactly.
think that's where it comes from. And I notice even for me, like being who I am, saying I'm gonna be open regardless of what a woman may think of me. So I've dated women, and it was a woman I thought I could be really open with in particular. But when I did open up to her, the things I said was used against me. Just to be quite honest with
Yeah. That, I mean, what happens, and I think women don't really think we're so, sometimes, I'm not going to say all the time, because like me, I'm like, let's let's be safe about what we do and how we do it and how we approach different things. Now sometimes you find that there are some, people that, respond before they think and different
Mhm.
things like that. And it's not to put everything out on you as the man per se, but I think their rage factor flies off the handle. So now, hey, you're not taking care of me. And
Right.
that's a bad way to think about things because there's so many women out there that seen their husbands or boyfriends or baby daddies die in front of you.
Hmm.
Why would you even, put them in that type of harm? And
Hmm.
that's just hard, regardless of what. That is a difficult situation, regardless of anything, because you can control yourself and you might be able to control your wife or your hubby or your significant other, but you have no control over that other person.
Right. That's so true.
And you
Because you
don't
don't know
know.
what somebody going through on the daily. And then
Exactly.
it's some people who live for trouble. Some people who see you out having a good time with your lady smiling, and they just
Exactly.
and we can acknowledge our environment. It's like times I just be out, and sometimes you feel the energy. It could be a
Hmm.
little bit of the PTSD we have growing up in the inner city as well. But
Nope.
sometimes when the guy's about to try to start something, like it'd be a bunch of guys standing in the
You
hallway, they
know.
talking all loud, making
Exactly.
noise and waiting for somebody to look down there and try to start something. Like you look down there, is it a problem? I mean, it's just certain things you just know when you move through the environment, and so you got to be very keen to things like that.
You
But like
do.
I said, it's always it all boils down to that environment because it was I got pressure. I remember back when I was in eighth grade, I got in a fight with this kid who had walked past my desk, and this was a guy. He wasn't my friend, but we was cool. We talked before, we talked
Right.
here and there. And he walked by my desk and bought a piece of paper. It was a blank sheet of paper, and he threw it away in the trash can. And my friends was like, "Oh, he threw your homework away, bro. He threw your homework, bro. He threw your homework away. Threw your homework away." And I knew it wasn't my homework, but everybody in the class started looking.
Laughing.
So I
Mm.
got up, you know, and I pushed him. I was like, "Man, what you doing?" So he pushed me back, and next thing we started fighting. And I look back like, man, that was just so stupid because
Mhm.
I fought him because I didn't want people thinking I was a punk in that school,
Right.
and because that's the environment. Like I say, it's people say it starts at the home, home first and foremost, but it's also outside of the home, that environment. Because you could have uh, a mom and dad that has great morals, that's respectable, but a lot of times we spend more time with our peers than we do
Right.
with our parents because parents be at work. So, like in our community back in the day, it was like God was the number one thing in our community, like the church and everything. But
Mhm.
now with me, these kids, it's the peer group. So when they go out, all your kid mingling with all kinds of children, you know, who probably learn all kind of things that you don't want your child learning. And I was
Right.
just pressured to fight because I knew that if I let him do that, of course, me being 14 at the time, going through puberty, I didn't want the girls thinking I was a punk. That too, but I didn't want my friends thinking I was a punk. So
Right.
I fought him, got suspended over something stupid. And me and
Mm.
him never spoke again. And we was previously cool. We even saw each other back in the high school, and we never spoke again,
Wow.
ever.
See, that's not good. That's not
No,
good.
it's not at all. It's not at
I,
all. I mean, we never. I mean, we never spoke. It was times in high school that happened. I mean, it was 10th grade. We was in a biology class together. We never spoke again. We sitting right next to each other. The teacher said, "Okay, y'all pick a apartment and work with each other." He went his way. I went my way. Never ever spoke again ever.
no good. No good. And I mean the division,
Mm-hmm.
just for something so, I'm not going to say minuscule because at that time, the age range that we're in, the hormones and everything
Mm-hmm.
else, like we're not really thinking it all the way through as a
Mm-hmm.
child,
Mm-hmm.
to really see what the outcome would be. We just react. And so it's just one of those things that it kind of catches, because of the fact that, oh, like you have that instigator that's always going to say, ooh,
All the
like,
time.
let
All the
them,
time.
oh my God, why y'all writing checks over there? Calm yourselves down. It is not that serious, but, everybody wants to see something because either one, home life ain't the greatest. So now I got to start trouble in school,
Right.
or the other way around. I got so much trouble at home. I want to be. I want to start this trouble. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
because all other trouble I had nothing to do with. I
Right.
just want to do my own
That
thing.
that reminds me of the movie The Wood. I know you've seen The Wood before. The movie The Wood with the three guys who's growing up coming up in Inglewood. You know,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, you
I think I've
you
seen
probably
clips,
in a
but I
minute
don't
though.
think I've
But
seen the whole thing though.
okay, yeah, but it was funny. I remember the scene when it was like whenever it's a fight in the school, somehow it gets all around the school.
Yes.
So everybody, like what happened, and all that. Did you win? Did you lose? And all kind of stuff, and it just be crazy. And
And don't
we
they
always knew.
instigate it?
And I'm not gonna say like, in the past. I mean, I did a little instigating too. Coming up. You hear the fight, everybody running over trying to see what's going on, and you know, it's just
Like,
man, that's
if you
crazy.
don't show up, then he got beat up, right?
Right,
Wasn't that
right,
the thing? Oh my
yeah.
gosh, I used to work my nerve. Like, why? Like, if
Hmm.
he steps foot back in there, he had to lose the fight. Like, that doesn't
Right,
even make sense to me. Like, he
and
needs to be in school.
that's another thing, like back in the day, like when like I say, my uncles was coming up. See, it was like fighting was the main thing. Then, then they transition, and then that's when the gunplay became the main thing. And we was just born into that, like the millennials, me being born, like I was born in '89, so it was born here in Detroit, so crack was in full effect, murder was crazy and everything. So I was born into that. Now we was kids, we was still fighting, and still was some sense of community in the '90s because I mean we did things, and somebody would knock on the door and say your child did this or that, but it wouldn't. It didn't escalate, but by the time we became a teenager, that's when the gun started, come and play with us as well. But I just know like that another difficult thing about when a confrontation starts with a lot of brothers is that when you lose a fight, people don't want to let you lay that down. And then the women, you want to be associated with a winner. Don't know girl want to talk to the guy that got his butt beat. It's close because then they're like, girl, he got his butt beat. He got his butt beat. You know, I remember like I got gun pulled on me in high school. I was minding my business and I had a gun pulled on me in high school, and it was a high school I had went to because
Hmm.
I spent most of my high school time at a previous high school. So I went there because I said I needed a change just to learn because my high school was a public school and it was just overcrowded. We couldn't take books home or nothing like that, and it was just hard learning there. It was just a lot of drama and chaos. It was a tough learning environment to
Hmm.
learn in. So I went to this new school, which it was a charter, just finished off 12th grade. It was a charter school, but it's still in the hood.
Yeah. It's
So
even
and
worse
then
sometimes because you got more than one school district that's in that spot.
you got the
And
kids in the projects here, the kids from all over. So I'm in there and I'm just walking up the steps one day. I'm about to graduate. It's a great year. And a guy pushes me on my back and I knock his hand down. I was like, and I stood. He was like, don't do that, dog. Don't do that, dog. And I said, what? We standing face to face.
mm,
He didn't do nothing when it was just me and him. But then as I'm walking up the steps, I noticed his boys coming. So I'm like, oh man. I was like, I know it's gonna go down. So I got the steps. I put my belongings down, and then he pulled out a gun. You know, he pulled out a gun, and I was surprised. I was all right. Put the gun down. Because that time I was 18, I did my reading, and I was following Brother Malcolm, so I got some internal power, and I had more strength. And I was a little more secure in myself than I was compared to when I was 14. So I stood my ground, which even I look at that was kind of crazy too, because if he had been full of ego, he shot me. I wouldn't be here.
did
You know,
anything.
so so he didn't do nothing. They was just standing right there, and before you knew it, like how the school was made, some people could come around this way. So I'm
It's
focusing
always
on them.
somebody.
I'm focused on the next thing I know, I was like, boom. I'm like, sneak shots are the best shots. So they called me, then they rushed me, and that was that. But I mean, I trying to grab one guy foot. I tried to get
Yeah,
some
right.
kind of revenge when they ran. I was trying to, but I couldn't get it. He got away, and then another
That's
one came, boom, hit me from the back, and that's when the security came and all that. My mom came, she was pissed off, and of course my family wanted to go up there. You know how it goes, and
yes.
but
Everybody ready
I
to
told.
figure out who was there.
Right.
Who was there? What's the
Everybody
family
ride,
name?
ready to ride now. Everybody ready to ride. But the thing is, I remember feeling so violated because at that time I wouldn't bother nobody. I wouldn't get in no trouble or nothing. And it took a
Right.
lot for me not to shed a tear because I just felt really violated and I felt humiliated and I felt like my pride was messed up. It took a lot. You know, my voice was trembling when I was telling them, yeah, what happened and everything and all that.
Right.
And you know, my mom, not thinking at the time, she said, I'm gonna get some of your cousins. We gonna get down. You
See,
know, because
starting a
she's like,
whole
I mean,
war.
yeah, yeah, right, because it's like you go back at them, you do something, so they got to come back at you, and then it never ends really
Yep.
until we all gone or locked up or somebody just
Like
decide, man,
what
I
for
got to
right
get voice.
now?
Yeah, yeah. So that was just crazy because
Right.
I battled it. I felt like I needed to do something, and I remember those next 3 days my senior pendant was there, and my mama told me that she didn't know if she wanted me to go back to that school because she heard somebody's car had got shot up.
Mm.
And I had thought about it. She said, because your grades are you already doing good, you on the honor roll, and you only got like a month left. And
Right.
I talk with people on it. I talk with my uncle, you know, who's from the streets, but he reformed now because he older. And I told him like, man, I need to do something, man. So I was telling I need to do something because you know they didn't done it to me in school. He's like, what you better do is mind your business. He
I know
said
that's
because he said because you know you're already about to graduate, but at the same time, you know you in that school, you ain't really got your crew there.
you
You
got
know
to
what I'm saying?
do
You and
it.
they got their crew there. So you know, and then you know after that happened, my mama had wanted to press charges, so she took me to the police station. And I was 18. I had just turned 18. They said you can't press charges. He got to press them. I said no, and you know why I didn't press him. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
come on, no, Cole. I wouldn't probably even
Mhm.
because of that. I wouldn't press because I just the environment. Like we're gonna
Right.
press charges, and I'd rather get some get back. Just that thinking, you know.
Right.
And yeah, so I talked to people. They said, you know, just chill it out. You know, my pride was hurt because I just felt real violated. You know, the next couple of
Oh.
days, I said I'm going back to school though, so I'm finish
Mhm.
it off. And it took a lot because I remember. Well, the good thing is I wasn't popular because I was new to that school. But the thing is, I remember going into this classroom and I walked in to drop off a paper to one of my old teachers, and he said, I heard a girl say, "That's the boy that got jumped." So I'm like, so you know, you walk in there, everybody like, boom, everybody eyes lock on you.
Right.
I'm like, oh man, inside I'm like, oh damn, you know. And then the weird thing about that, everybody looking at me, I'm trying to look straight with a straight face, but inside I'm like, damn, I'm just minding my
Like,
business.
do you gotta
Yeah,
put me on blast like that? That's not
put me on
right.
blast. You know, we good for putting each other on blast like that, but you know,
You know, every
I
time.
all the time. I remember, I went there. My teacher said, "I want to talk to you for a minute." Then this girl who I actually thought was fine, she came. I want to hear what you got to tell him. You know, all that. She came. I want to hear. He's like, go sit down. She said, no, because I want to hear what you got to tell him. So I just want. He said, just go. I said, I'll just sit over for a minute. So she came over to me. And I don't know what kind of language. Because I want to tell you exactly what she said. I don't know what kind of language you use on your show.
We keep it PG, sir.
Okay, PG, that's fine. Okay, we keep just making sure. So, thank you. So,
No
so she
problem.
came over there and she just got face. So she came over there and sat down. She said, "Why they jump you?" She did like little, you know, the little hood girl. And, why they jump you? Like that. So I was like, I don't know. You know, I was just minding my business, and they just jumped me. She's like, "You a punk?" I was
Uh-uh.
like, "Yeah." That's how I said. I said, "No, I ain't no punk." I said, "About 5 or 6 of them. What could I do?" So I'm
Right.
talking with her. She's like, oh, she said, so they just whooped your A, just like
Oh
that.
no.
You know,
She
that's
out of
what she did.
pocket. Come
I mean,
on.
that's what she said. So I'm just looking at her in my mind. I was like, man, my mind, I thought some names went through my head.
Right.
I was like, man,
Mm-hmm.
they're going somewhere. No. So then she started talking stupid, like, oh, you got a little goatee. How you grow that? Just talking stupid. And I'm like. Then she finally left. I'm like, thank you, man. Go on, get out of my face. And I thought she was real fly. She was one of the girls I was checking out, and I told my boys. I said, man, she fine, man. You know, and that was one of the
See,
girls who came. Yeah, that's one of the girls who came. She the
it's
one I
them
was talking
pretty
about
girls that get you in trouble.
all the time. But she
But
was the one I was
I'm
eyeing. She
kidding, y'all. I'm kidding. Don't hate on me. I'm sorry.
not all the time, but you know, sometimes they can be, and sometimes they even they fault. It's the male ego, you know.
Right.
Sometimes they even on them. But
Yeah, it's true.
that happened, and you know, so I finally got through that. But I also remember going through and hearing some guys say that that's the N word y'all beat up. So I'm walking by, I was like, oh man. So it took a lot.
It's
But
that's
before, I wanted to, yeah, but before I tell you, one thing I had honestly, I had taken my first day back to school after I got jumped. which was a couple of days, I had took a knife in my bag, a little pocket knife. It was a little pocket knife though. So
Yeah.
I had took the, and I had a lock. I had took the a lock I was carrying, for just in case. So I had my bag, and it was so weird. Some of these stories talked about in my book. It was so weird because I walked in before that happened to me. Before that before that happened to me. They didn't put metal detectors up in the. We had metal detectors, but they didn't have the metal detectors on in that school.
Hmm.
So when I go in, I have the knife in my book bag. So as soon as I walk up to the security guard, I'm like, oh, they got metal detectors now. So I walk in, and the security guard, it was so weird. He did the little scan thing over me, and he just looked at me for a minute. It was just real strange. I mean, I looked at him, he looked at me. He's like, go ahead. So I left, and I went to my locker, and I was getting myself out the book. I was like, damn, I got this knife in here. That could have changed everything for me. I was 18
Right.
and I'm carrying a knife and all that. I was like, man,
Hmm.
I felt that was like God, the creator. Well, I said that spiritual thing that I always felt that
Right.
was been watching over me that saved me from that. But that was that. I got through that. But it was real tough going back there and then people knowing. But after that, it kind of died down. Many people then been bothering me about it and all that. And that's why I say sometimes me not being popular in school was kind of like a good thing. Because if
Hmm.
I had been popular, I probably would have been. I, Probably not me personally, because what my mentality was at that time, I was already, sharp and reading and got knowledge and stuff and all that. But a typical guy probably would have got himself in trouble, like especially if he was popular, because he would feel he had to do something. Like you got a name, it's like my name is my name, so I got to do something. But I got through that, and it was real hard getting through that. But I got through it. I fought the peer pressure, and I
Hmm.
graduated. And that was that, and it just made me stronger.
That is so awesome. See, okay, so I guess for me, my question to you, because I do have a good bit of friends that are single, right? And they might be looking for a good guy, right? I
Hmm.
have like my best friend Jimmy is on here too, and of course my lovey's on here. But at the same time, like as far as the women are concerned, they are trying to figure out where is the best place to find these guys. And now I'm thinking, because you are a literary connoisseur.
Oh, thanks,
Hey,
thank
y'all
you.
need to go to the library, y'all. Y'all went to the wrong. Don't be going to clubs. Don't
Right.
be going to all these places. But ones that like to educate their minds,
Mm-hmm.
be intrigued with knowing and knowledge and understanding things and whatnot. Like they spend more time with things that they can learn
Hmm.
before really like going out to like live, like
Right.
experience stuff. Because if you
Absolutely.
can take a shortcut and you can get a cheat sheet, why not? Right? How many
For real.
times did we have a test and we was writing and jotting down answers on our hand, right? By
Oh
the time
yeah.
we got to
Oh yeah. Oh for
to
sure.
the test, it was like all sweated off.
Or you wrote it light in pencil on the desk.
Like trying.
Yeah, you write light on the pencil on the desk so they gonna see. So the teacher, if they had those glasses, the teachers they can really see it.
Let me see what you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But like, are you finding there's so many other guys like you?
Uh,
No.
honestly, no,
He
no,
said no.
because I feel like a lot of times in my life I was like a kind of like a pariah in a way, like an outcast because I was so different. Like
Right.
when was in school and I gained knowledge of self, the guys weren't thinking to talk, the girls weren't on that either. So it was just
Hmm.
like I was kind of, like an outsider was rare. Because even with my friends, like I saw some of them grow, but still different. Like it's certain things that not throwing them under the bus, certain things that
Right.
they do, I wouldn't do,
Right.
and and I love them, but and I never encourage them to do nothing wrong. But there's certain things they do that I don't do, and I ask the why, and a lot of times they can't even say a reason. It's just like, why not? it was there. So
If I can get
so
away with it.
I mean, yeah, so and it's like sometimes honestly, when you really trying to be an honest guy, really live a high moral life, sometimes you feel unappreciated. So
Right,
sometimes I used to battle and say, myself, one time I used to say, I wish I could
right.
do some of that stuff, but I got a conscience, and that like that goes back to me like trying to model myself as a young man after Malcolm X because he carried himself and such with such grace and high character, and I'd
Right,
had those type of men for me. I
mm,
mean, men around me, and
right,
'cause I told you my teenage years was the darkest time of my life. I was ready to commit suicide, and only three things stopped me from doing it. I didn't want to leave my mom.
mm-hmm,
Two, I was scared to do it, and three, I was brought up to believe that if you committed suicide at that time, that you would go to hell. So
right,
my escape was through reading, and through reading, I learned and got knowledge of self, and it
mm,
sharpened my discipline and answered a lot of questions about my community and why my family was
right,
had the problems we had, and that kept me stronger and all that. So I use Malcolm as a rubric for manhood and black manhood in particular.
right.
So I kind of model myself. No, myself. That was like the model when we was young, but I'm walking my own path now, but still holding him high. I got a lot of love and respect for that brother. But you doing that, and it's like in our community, it wasn't valued. That it's like if
True.
I was taught that as a young man that you see these girls around here, get one of these girls and get your practice in.
Mm,
You know what I mean by that. Get your practice
yeah.
in. They would say like get one of these low self esteem girls
Mm,
and just get your practice in. So it's like
let's not do
it
that.
was kind of like, and I didn't do that.
Mm,
And now, but it was hard because you're human, and then you feel like sometimes like, oh, am I invisible? Do people see me?
right.
You know, so it was tough because and it and it's and it's so strange, Lady Myya, because I remember even when I dress, like I don't dress, like I wasn't dressed in the flashiest clothes or nothing like that. But I was neat. I was always neat. It wasn't like I was like Steve Urkel. So I would dress like Steve Urkel, nothing like that. But it was
I
just
love
weird because I mean, even my mom, I love her to life, but like sometimes if I put on like a hoodie, my mom love it. She said, I like that way you look. You look kind of like thugged out now. I'm like, like there's certain things like and but we all it's all boils down to the environment. But no, I don't know a lot of guys like that. I mean, I got a couple, but like it's a small number of guys because
right.
it's not like it's really valued. I think I'm not gonna blame everything on the women. It's both of us, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that if, women hold a lot of power in it. Like they change what they what they look for in a man, and enough women. No, I'm saying like if enough women can get on board with them, because there's always gonna be those people that's willing to, you know, do anything.
Well, like, okay, I'll say the only reason why I'm making faces, I am so sorry. Please
Cool,
forgive me.
cool.
Only reason why I'm saying is because a lot of the times we give that power to the man initially because this is how we were brought up.
Mhm.
Be submissive, do what they say since they make the most money. Cash is king. King is the one walking in with the biggest paycheck. We were supposed to always let you guys lead. Now, there were so many of them that leaded us off on short cliffs. And so it made it to whereas they weren't strong enough. And I'm going, you know what? If y'all gonna get on me, y'all gonna get on me. I'm gonna let y'all get on me.
Fair, okay.
The women that were raising these boys raised them to be boys. They did
Hmm.
not raise them to be men. They did not set them up to do what they were supposed to do. They were like, "Oh, well, you're supposed to get with a woman that's supposed to do everything that I did for you." But you didn't teach him how to take care of himself and really take care of his business. You just told him he's supposed to get a wife. What are we supposed to do with that? Just
Okay,
saying. I mean,
I'll say no.
I'm
I
just saying.
respect that too. I'm here. I ain't finna. I'm not finna run. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say this. Now I have to say this.
Okay.
Now, saying how some of the women were brought up.
Right.
I do think it's generational.
Yes,
Now
definitely.
you said that women were brought up to be submissive and all that. Now I
Ex-
think that's like more so like my grandma now, because by the time like
Yes.
okay, so I hear that. I hear that. Okay, but let me see what I'm saying is a lot of that's generation because like my grandma, who's extremely traditional, she said that all women supposed to know how to cook. You know, she has. I mean, she has, and so she criticizes some of the younger women around her for knowing that, for not being able to do this. But I say it's really something that happened across the board, like with men and women,
Hmm.
because I remember I be seeing some of these older guys, like I got a guy I'm like good friends with, that's a mechanic. He's an older guy, you know, and he has so many skill trades, right? Like many skills trades to feed himself. When I was coming up in school, and no excuses, but like Tech was going out. Like a lot of these trade skills, a lot of things we had the men could learn to provide for their families and stuff like that were
Yep.
going. A lot of the home economics stuff that was taught to girls, all these things, like it happened across the board for both of us. You know, like things that women formerly learned, they weren't learning no more. Things men would formerly learn, we weren't learning no more either. And
Nope.
then there's a lot of things I know people sometimes think a man says making excuses about like how welfare changed the dynamic of our family. Now you
True.
got to take the man out the household and all that.
They did.
So I think it's a lot of combinations of things. But me
It is.
personally, not throwing shade at my family,
Right.
and they hear this, but it is what it is. I will say this: like a lot of the men, like in my family, like honestly, I will say this: like when they moved out, many of them moved out on women. When I moved out on my own. Now, so what I'm saying is I do get what you're saying, but I can attest to like we there's a few years between us, but it's still things that still common between us. And I
Right.
will say on the flip side with the women, I've seen a lot of women that ain't up to par as well.
Oh, yes.
I've
Hot
seen
mess.
that flip
Yes.
side. Like I
Most
know
of
I know we talk about like black women getting education and all that, and I'm proud of y'all. I love y'all. I'm glad for y'all for doing that. I support y'all 100%. But sometimes we forget that number is not as big as the media may want you to believe it is.
true.
Because honestly, I know, and this is good. I'm glad we're talking about it because I know personally, my cousin. So my people around me,
Uh-oh.
I'm stop being so direct. So my people
They're gonna
around me,
call you later.
yeah, right. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. I know some of them. They had no problem finding a woman to take care of them. You know, I can
Okay.
tell you, it's countless guys I came across, and they like in job they got a job like, oh my girl got me this job, my girl got me this job, all that, and,
Mm-hmm.
I come across countless guys like that. It's like in a way,
Yes.
those women, like they really attract to those guys. They willing to put in a little bit more effort for them. Now let me tell you something I've noticed also, like with women, and sometimes the choice is like if it's a guy, let's say he's a good guy, he's really a good man, but maybe they're not really physically attracted to him like that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's when a lot of those standards come from men. Like you gotta have this, you gotta have that, you gotta have this car, you gotta have this house. If they're not really attracted to you, and they solicit
Mm.
socioeconomic status, but then it's a man like they real just physically attracted to, they
Right.
willing to invest in that man and help that man a little bit more. I've noticed that too. I'm just
Well, it's how men come at us,
mhm.
right? Let's just say if you come up, hey shorty, what's up? Look good looking, blah blah blah. Okay, now I know you a whole hot mess. It's either am I going to deal with this or just walk away kind of situation. I really, because now I can't really respect anything you say out your mouth. You know what I mean?
I hear you, Lady Myya. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Now, and your friends may be like they may be like Lady Myya, the Mayan tribe. They may be like you.
No, not all of
Okay, okay. Well, I'm saying like, see you evolved in your thinking. So so I mean, I'm telling you like, uh, you'd be amazed at some of the things I saw when I was out with my friends, and some other women would respond to. You probably wouldn't because you from Philly, I'm from
not
Detroit.
really, not
But
really.
what I'm saying is, I totally agree that, like, one of the people in the comments said that men had to be men, but right, and I agree with that.
Right.
But sometimes you could be a guy that's on point, and I've encountered women who, even if you're on point, they don't want to cooperate with you. You know, you can be on point, and they don't want to cooperate.
Right. It's true.
You know, so it's a deep, it's deep though. I think it ain't no either or. I think it's a lot of, it's very very complicated.
Yeah.
You know? So,
No,
but I,
and go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. So what I would say, like, I don't see no, I don't encounter a lot of guys, but in circles that I hang in, you know, sometimes, you know, it's like you connect with people, you find people. It may not be a lot of y'all, but you may find your own community.
Right.
Like if you're a reader in the arts or something like that, I think, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like certain bookstores. It's like in Detroit, it's a bookstore that has a lot of events. You know, it's an
Right.
African Center bookstore. You know, so it's people like kind of like in that crowd. You know, like the movie Love Jones. Like,
Right.
y'all, it's people like, so it's about finding your community,
Mm-hmm.
what you really into. And I know a lot of times in certain places you go, like if you go to like the health food stores, maybe that could tell you something about some people. You know, they taking
True.
better care of their health. So if
Right.
they're taking better care of their health, then maybe they care about, they mental, their spiritual, you
True.
know, physical and all that. So, I think it's where you really hang at.
Right.
And but first and foremost, we got to stop looking for saviors. You know, that's
Okay.
that's what we got to. We got to look inside ourselves. Like, you
Yes.
got to really, whatever trauma you come with. I recommend therapy. I'm in therapy right now. You know, I
Right.
told you about things I went through in my life, and I
Yeah.
recommend that healing that little girl or that little boy inside of you, because a lot of times you'll be going through life and you're just looking for somebody else to save you, and you'll never find it, because you
Yeah.
got to save yourself and heal yourself first and foremost. It's not a man's job to save you. No, it's not a woman's job to save you. We got to save ourselves first and foremost.
Mm.
You heal yourself, then I think you can attract, better people. Because what I realized is, even though I had knowledge of self and I was healing myself for years and years, I realized that some women I had attracted were women who had kind of were damaged or had like
Mm-hmm.
a very traumatic past. And
Yeah.
I know some of the women in my family, so part of me was playing like kind of like the white knight in a way. I was trying
Yeah.
to help them and trying to make them better. I'm not trying to
Right.
demand like you do this, but just like encouraging them, like whatever they want to do, I'm encouraging them with. You
Right.
know, one lady I was working out with, going to the gym with, just trying to make her be better.
Right.
Really investing my time. She wanted to learn about real estate. I was talking about real estate with her. I gave her books on this, all kind of stuff to like to make her better. But a lot of times those women well fought against me, or in some cases I would say even some of them even like were angry at me, or hated me
Ooh,
because
that's
of because I tried to help them make them better. Never thought I was better than them. But there's sometimes we be so damaged. A lot of us, that some of us so damaged it's almost hard for them to know how to love. They don't have a healthy sense of love. And
right.
what I know through therapy with me, like I always say, I recommend, like on my podcast, I talk about sitting with your pain. What I mean sitting with your pain is like really sitting down and dealing with it, because it's
True.
things I didn't know that was bothering me from
Mm-hmm.
childhood that I thought I overcame, that revisited me in adulthood. And I said I need to really sit with that. And I
No.
and through our actual relationship is also something I saw some holes in myself and saw
Right.
things that I needed to work on. And that's why
Mm-hmm.
therapy has been, so important to me. But I think it's first and foremost, we got to really heal ourselves and be honest with yourself about your flaws and your insecurities. Like don't lie to yourself about if you're insecure about this, if you're insecure about that.
Don't
Things I
do
was insecure about. I remember like when I was a kid, I had a TV had fell on my foot and it kind of had broke my toe up, and I was ashamed to go out because I didn't
it.
want people seeing that. But
Right.
a couple years ago, I said, man, I gotta get past that just through growing and constantly learning and healing. I said,
True.
man, I ain't gonna worry about that. Ain't nothing I can do about that. And
True.
I went swimming and got swimming lessons and wasn't worried about that being out. And martial arts, I take martial arts class. I ain't worried about people seeing that.
Mm.
I learned to accept myself by through healing. And
Right.
really sometimes I recommend we take time out to be alone sometimes, instead of
Yeah.
just some people just jump from relationship to relationship,
They
and you'll be
do.
doing that for the rest of your life. And then you
Yeah.
jump from relationship to relationship, you're getting
Mm-hmm.
damaged, and everybody leave their traces on you. And
True.
sometimes you might not even be no good to nobody because you ain't no good
Mm.
to yourself. So I just
Yeah.
think first and foremost, before you find the right man or woman, you really gotta heal yourself. And I think I was glad that I worked on myself for so long and
Mhm.
still working on myself. But I had to admit that it was something about me that was attracting women, a lot of women who needed that healing, and
Mhm.
so it was something about me, like a lot of the women in my family, those were the women I was exposed to. And
Mhm.
I remember trying to encourage them to, to be, to take up trades and do all this. And a lot of
And
times
you
I
know
didn't,
dang well if we old enough, we ain't trying to do nothing extra. You know
well,
that that's
yeah,
only because I think, we have it in our minds, right? That we've done it all.
mhm,
We know everything. God forbid.
mhm,
And then it's just like, you get to a point where you've given so much, especially when you're younger.
yeah,
You've gotten
yeah,
beat up so many times or beat down so many times, mentally, physically, emotionally,
hmm,
everything.
hmm,
And by that time you get of a decent age where you can just kind of sit back and relax and really rest yourself. You still kind of have to worry about your mental and your health at that point, but at the same time, like, trying to do anything extra to avert the knowledge to come,
hmm,
it's just
hmm,
like, nah, they don't know what they're talking about now. When
hmm,
I was back in my day, and it's always that, it's
yeah,
always going to be
yeah,
that clash against what they know and what they're learning.
mhm.
So,
I,
I mean,
I
it
feel
makes
that.
it difficult because, some people just in that space, in that headspace, they just can't
Hmm,
do it, I guess. I don't
hmm,
know. I could
yeah,
be wrong. If y'all listen, if y'all think I'm wrong, or if y'all have any questions, please ask. We'll definitely answer them. I'm putting everything up on everything that's coming up. I'm putting up on the screen as well. Trey is an amazing individual. I mean, he's so smart and, like, in a way that he does things, and why he does things is just like the story. You guys, if y'all just listen to his podcast, I'm telling you, listen to his podcast, you would really be enlightened about a lot of the things that Black men think about that we
hmm,
don't necessarily know,
hmm,
and can't even really, like, understand why. Because that's always the factor for women. For women, it's like, okay, so why are you thinking this way? What made you think that way? And we try to dig, but you can't dig with someone that doesn't really necessarily understand why they do what they do or feel the way that they feel. They still going through it, so they can't explain
hmm,
it to you. Is that about
hmm.
right? That's about right. So I kind
I feel that. I feel that. I feel that to a great degree. But I will say it's some of us who do know. It's some of us
yeah.
who do know, and many of us probably all had that experience. Was a person you felt you could be open to, and they expose you or they let you down. And one thing is hard. It's hard trusting somebody after somebody did you wrong. Because what I like, I always keep a circle of older men and older women around me as well. And I always ask a lot of women, I say, is it one man that you love more than any man you ever loved?
Mm.
And they're like, yeah. And I was like, and some of them, like, shockingly, wasn't even the man they had children with. And some of them, be honest, it wasn't even the man they married. You
Wow.
know, so, and it's like that for me. It's like that one person you was so open to. You
Mm.
was just, I felt like, man, I found it. This my soulmate. We're gonna be together forever. And you just opened up to him, and, and it went, and they did you wrong, or it didn't work out, and it's like man, and it's so hard for us to be so open with people after that. It's like anybody you deal with, they all leave their traces on you. Like
You're always going to compare.
you
Exactly.
always don't compare, or I remember when this guy did this or that, or I remember when this girl did this or that.
Exactly.
So and it's hard. I mean, being a human being
Right.
is not an easy thing because none of us perfect, and those memories always live on.
That's true.
So that's one thing that's really hard. But a lot of us, I think, a lot of men, a lot of the brothers, especially, we want somebody we can talk to.
That's
We
true.
want somebody we can really. I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? But through my experience, even when I felt I was with a woman that was really down for me, even she kind of I felt used it against me a little bit, a
Mm.
lot bit, a
Yeah.
lot bit. a
You
lot
got that.
because so but it's just
I,
like so it was just like important to have that
yeah,
that safe space, and that's what like my pod
yeah.
is about. Because even the guys like even on some YouTube platforms, the guys is known as players or womanizers. They say, look, I'm telling you now, if you have problems, do not tell your girl this. Talk about it with your boys. Because if you talk about it with your girl, she is not gonna respect you. She's gonna look at you as weak. And women looking for men for strength.
Well, no, that depends on what woman. Cause like, okay,
Always there.
I'll say this. I'm super, super emotional when it comes to my guy.
Mm,
So it's just like anything he feels, he can tell me he's not feeling that way. And I'd be like, why you lying though?
mm,
Like you feel something because
yeah,
something's not right. The tension is different.
yeah,
And we feel better when we have some type of understanding. And we don't have to have the full understanding, but something, that's giving us like, okay, I'm feeling this. I know it's you because it wasn't me. So
mm,
if you tell me something, you know what, babe, I'm just dealing with something right now. Got you. Not a problem. You dealing with something, you let me know if you need me. If you don't need me, I understand. Because, some things, guys just don't feel good about talking with women. But go ahead.
okay,
Go ahead.
okay. And I got this one question, Lady Maya. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, okay?
Put me on the
Okay.
spot, sir.
So I'm not trying to, so don't take it that way. But okay, so when you were younger, would you have been cool with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's the thing. I think that sometimes we don't maybe not realize how different we are from like the masses, or like
Right.
how we different from the most people that's around us. Because
Right.
most people are followers.
Yeah.
Most people are followers.
I
Like
don't like to
just,
follow.
so like it's not so most people followers like even if they think they're not followers, they follow like what's the trend or what's popular, or what you're supposed to do, or
Right.
what's expected of you. So I would say, I mean, just think about some of the people maybe your friends because people birds of feathers tend to flock together. You got your friends or whatever, so they may be similar to you, because they got to have some qualities like you for them to be your friend. But
Absolutely.
but
My girl Sharika, the one that keep asking all the questions, that's
okay,
her.
yeah. But see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of times we don't realize that we are exceptional.
Yeah.
We may not realize that we are really exceptional, and that we may project a little bit. Like women, like we taking on the battle for all men and all women. I know all men are not like me, and all women are not like you. You
Mm-mm.
know, so I'm just telling you from my experiences, and then just talking like not trying to put women down. I just talk to older women, and I remember this older lady. I was working at this place because wherever I go, I always track a lot of the older people. They
Always,
like
right?
yeah, I always track some of them.
It's the
And I
old
remember,
souls. Yeah.
right, and I remember she told me that she remember back in the day, every day was this guy that would go to work, and every day he went to work, it was this guy that went in his home, like every day. And then she told me, she's like, even when she was younger, and she was like, that was probably like 5 6 years ago. She was in the 70s then. She said she has always seen women gravitate towards grimy, like even when
Mm.
she was a younger woman. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's seen that. And it's not talking to them because I just men been doing the same thing. And in many respects, back in the day it was expected or almost expected for a man to say, "Oh, I can mess with multiple women." It wasn't expected for women to do that. Back especially back in the day. Now my
Mm.
generation
Right.
is a little different. I done heard girls say, "I'm gonna pimp them like they pimp us. I'm gonna do them like they do us." I've heard that. You know, I mean, and that's one thing I say like with my generation, like as ugly as it is, one thing I can res- I respect is how stuff is more in your face.
Yeah.
Cause I rather know the truth than
What
some.
I'm
I take
dealing
ugly
with.
truth than a pretty lie.
Yeah.
And it hurts because sometimes I wanted to especially when I was young, I wanted to believe that the world wasn't as cold as it was. I wanted to believe that people weren't like that because it helped me get through. It was like a fantasy, but I had to face it. Like, yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And also, I remember being a young man. You know, like I said, when I got conscious, trying to help my sisters out. I always said I love my black women. to the core. But I remember something for sure. I remember some older men telling me they was like, man, it's like they said these H's. I'm gonna say that these, HOEs, that word. That's how they describe it. He said these H's, they ruthless. He told me, I'm telling you, he's like, they ruthless. Now my older cousin told me, he's like, they ruthless. And I got out there and just was pure hearted,
Found
man,
out.
good guy. And I found out, and then I was like, wow. I was like, man. And then that's what I'm saying, like, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It could be dangerous
Yeah.
to, because whenever you do something wrong to somebody,
Yeah.
you can't really have a say how they respond to you when you intentionally
That's
do them
true.
wrong. No
So
matter what they may do, you may think it's extreme, and that's why I'm so careful. Like, people thinking it's cool, or he acting serious, or he blowing it out of proportion. You never know what a person been through, where they
mm-hmm.
head at. I
Nope.
was a youth counselor. There was boys in there talking about their girl messing with somebody else, somebody they would kill them and all that. Because sometimes these are when you don't have people and they find somebody they love or they think they love, they just wrap themselves up into those type of people. Yeah, that's why I stress young men and men always finding a purpose outside of women having a reason to live. I told you, I told some of the guys that was in there, young boys, I said, sometimes the woman you dealing with, and they was teens, some of them had babies. I said, some of the times the woman you're dealing with, she'll be faithful while you locked up, depending on how long you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she might, deal with somebody physically until you get out and then stop it. And sometimes she might still deal with him and you while you're out. And sometimes she just might leave you. But I say
Yeah.
you still got to just have find a purpose because my mama
Mm.
told me you can find a woman, you can be in love with her. And one day she may wake up out of the blue and decide she don't want to be with you no more. Just like that. And you got to be able to bounce
Like
back from
that.
that. Men and women, we both got to be able to bounce back. But we got to have a purpose, have a reason to live outside of a mate. Because if you wrap yourself up into somebody and they let you down, you're dealing with human beings. We all got flaws.
Yeah.
You got, and if somebody rap into you like that, you never know what they might do. They
Nope.
feel like you going away from them, their world is over. So it's nothing for them to try to
Mm-hmm.
take your life, and especially more with these younger young men that's coming up.
Yeah.
Like,
They not even
'cause,
thinking. Like they don't
no,
think about long term at all. They just like,
they
I'm
don't.
just gonna respond, react, and I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I'm just gonna and but you don't even understand like what could go wrong. Because most things do go wrong,
Yes,
and it's just like, why are we doing this? I know. Let's
and
not do
take
that.
and Lady Myya, take it from a guy who's sane, who's got discipline. And I remember when I was did wrong, I was dead wrong, and I remember some of the thoughts that just came through my head, but
Yeah.
wasn't good. I
Mm-mm.
got because I felt like I was like, damn, I was like everything we've been through, and I was here for you. You did this, and
Right.
I was like, and it was painful.
Right.
It was very painful because like heartbreak can be as painful as a death,
It's
and people
true.
don't realize it can be that painful. And you like,
Right.
damn, like everything we've been through, this and all that, and you just like that. And I had
Exactly.
some thoughts that one of the most positive thoughts that came to my mind, but me
Mm.
understanding like I lost my grandma before I thought I would never lose, and I was a young kid, and I'm
Right.
here. I'm still living. I lost some of
Mm.
my cousins. Some of them were murdered, very
Wow.
very close to me, and I'm still here. So I
That is
say,
okay.
you walking out, I'm still be here. And
Right.
besides, I still got a mission in life. I still got a
Yes,
purpose
you
here.
do.
So as
You
painful as it
definitely do.
is, as much as I want to be with you,
Mm-hmm.
I can't make nobody love you. So
Nope.
they leave. You got to say, oh, I'm gonna suck it up. But still with that pain,
Mhm.
deal with it. I don't recommend just jumping into another relationship
Right.
or just going out potentially hurting somebody else.
Because
You know,
hurt people. Let's
hurt
not
people,
do that.
or you get yourself in a situation where you get pregnant by the wrong
Right.
person. Or you get
Exactly.
the wrong person pregnant,
Yes.
and then that's a whole nother animal you got to deal with for the rest of your life.
Don't
You know what
do
I'm
it.
saying? So even if you a good person, you dealing with a crazy person, that's gonna affect your
Yeah.
child growing up. So
That's
I was
true.
always say, just take time out, sit with that pain. When you
Mm.
go through like a heartbreak situation, really deal with it. Think about what you did right, what you did wrong, what you could have did
Right.
better. What were some of the red flags? What were some of the signs that you ignored and all that? And
Exactly.
you move forward. But in the
Exactly.
meantime, you find your purpose again. Like if you were dating somebody and you're a writer and you stop writing, get back to writing. Write poems, talk about that. If you were, you know, going to the gym, get back to going to the gym.
Right.
Just get back to your purpose. Like if you're a man or woman, just get back to that purpose. You can get through it.
Yeah.
Some of them take longer than others, depending on how long you was with them or, how you really felt about the person. But you can get through it. I've been there and I got through it, and you know, uh, got stronger actually
Mhm.
after
All
that.
right, so we gonna wrap this up since we just hit an hour.
Okay.
But I am so glad and so honored to have you on my show.
Honored to be here.
I think you have been such a great, just mountain of knowledge and experience and everything that you have gone through, and just even the assessment of what you did go through. So,
Yeah.
can you please tell my Mayan tribe how they can actually reach you, beloved?
Well, you can reach me on Facebook, Trey Styles, Instagram, Trey Styles 978. I'm on Clubhouse as well, Trey Styles, Twitter, Trey Styles 17. And you can also find me on my podcast, Black Man Talk, one word, Black Man Talk, on YouTube. It's on Spotify and other streaming platforms. That's how you can connect with me.
Yes. Thank you, you guys. I appreciate everyone. Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Mayan
Thank you.
Tribe. I thank you, friends, loved ones. Sharika, yes, ma'am, you're next. Make sure you put it in there. Okay. She's like, where my mic? And I'm like, next time. But I appreciate this talk. This was a great talk. I am so over the moon, really, because this was
Thank you.
so good. She says she ready.
All
She
right.
ready now. But I appreciate everybody for being here and sticking with us on an hour, because usually Sister Girl don't be doing no hour. But I love you
Yeah,
guys
we
so
gone.
much. I will
Thank
talk
you.
to you guys later. Call me, all right? Not what is it? 214-529-0980. Or just go to admin at ladymya.com. You know how to spell it. Myya, because your home girl is special. I'll talk to you guys later.